Hi, welcome to Comic Talk. I am Josh.
And I am so mildly upset with you because you convinced me that the little kid in Criminal was a girl, and we got 75,000 fucking comments
Yeah,
to the contrary.
yeah, I thought that was funny. So
Every day I check it and there's another comment about, well, no, it's because
it's not a girl, idiots.
Right,
Yeah, totally my fault.
Son of a bitch.
That was funny too, because I really pled my case and convinced you
It was a good case.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever. You seem like a girl. Named Tracy.
Right, and the whole bit about
A father and son.
is more memorable and whatever.
Yeah, and the character kind of seemed a little feminine too.
Sure.
Well, anyhow, this is our weekly comic list review.
Pull list of comics.
Put all those words together in the correct order for us.
Yeah.
And it is May 4th, Star Wars Day. So, whatever. We didn't read any Star Wars comics, though.
No, we're not going to.
No. Thing.
Sidekick!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, this week we have two titles. Only two.
Just two. There wasn't even good shit to add in.
Not really. Yeah. I looked. There wasn't anything else. Plus, we've had so many on a lot of other weeks lately that adding more, I think, right now. Plus the DC rebirth that's happening. So we just read two this week. Here's what we got. Moon Knight number 2, Sheriff of Babylon number 4, 5. Where are we at?
6.
What? Number 6?
Yeah.
Wasn't this a 6-issue thing?
No.
No?
No.
Oh. Well, good.
Yeah.
So I'd be bummed if that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let's start off. We'll talk about Sheriff of Babylon.
Sure.
It's on the top. So that's what we'll talk about. It's Tom King and somebody Jared's. What is his name? What's his first name? I'm going to look. Mitch. His name is Mitch.
Good old Mitch.
Yeah. Also, Lanham does the lettering here, which I don't know why, but I've seen that name a lot. I don't know what else he's done, but his name comes up a lot in a lot of the DC stuff we like. I guess he must be a good letterer. So what happened here with Sheriff of Babylon? Without spoiling, because God, this is starting to get hard to talk about in some ways, isn't it?
I mean, a lot of shit. There's some nameless American people that are just fucking shit up.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I can really say.
I feel like this whole comic encapsulates about 3 minutes of time. Really.
Yes.
Yeah. It's I feel like the thing that's happening with Chris and Nasir, it feels like that's happened at the same time as the first conversation with, what's her name? Sophia and the general. Mm-hmm. And then we cut to them talking again, at the chair thing. Mm-hmm. And that's it. It's two little moments of conversations. They do the chair and then they get in the car and drive away, and that's half of it. And the other half is they're sitting there having a drink, and then those guys walk up, and that happens. Mm-hmm. And that being said, it's awesome. Again, a really tight, riveting thing happening on one side, and then a really almost philosophical, deep political conversation about two groups of people interacting with one another on the other side.
Yeah.
And they play off each other really well.
Mm-hmm. Man, just reading this, you super, super feel for the Iraqis.
Yeah.
We're so dumb.
Well, but it also does a good job of showing that it's not necessarily good guys and bad guys. It's just we get this idea of the American war machine being exactly that. Everybody's a cog, and they don't seem to have any control over what they're stuck doing, and it seems to be causing all these conflicts. But at the same time, where they're at, this time in Iraq, whose fault it was, whatever,
Right.
it is a disaster as well. So
Yeah.
it's like this giant machine that's way too bureaucratic,
Yeah. It's
trying to deal with this chaotic nonsense at the same time. It's just a fuel for the fire.
Yeah, it's like when you call into like some company and you're like, okay, I have this problem, and then they try to do a couple things to help you, and they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna transfer you to this person, and then like 7 fucking transfers later, like you still don't have the answer that you're looking for.
Right.
It's like, son of a bitch, like who do I need to talk to? Who actually fucking knows things?
Right.
Because I've talked to a ton of people who know shit.
Yeah. Now just add guns and murder
Right.
to every chain of the command, and everyone involved, and your problem is that people are trying to murder you, and you need help, and then that's this issue, right?
Yeah.
I loved the beginning of the issue, like the first couple pages with Nasir and Chris having their conversation is just awesome.
Yeah. I really
it's
like Nasir.
funny and friendly and poignant. And then we get that mixed with the Sophia thing, and then also what comes after, because the tension ratchets up really fast.
Really fast.
Yeah, just awesome. And also the framing of the narrative artistically is incredible in this one, which the same thing applies to Moon Knight #2. Like both things that we got this week do an incredible job on the art side of framing what's going on.
Definitely.
Very
And just the artwork itself is really good too.
Yeah, it
I mean,
is.
everything just looks like it's slightly dirty and just sweaty and like kind of miserable in that sort of way. One last note about the writing, like I'm continuously impressed with just how distinct all these characters are. You know, like we get introduced to like a new person here, like this Bob guy, and like you immediately get a feel for who he is and like how he's different from everybody else, and just nobody's bland. Everybody's
Right.
like a real person.
Right, yeah, Bob walks up and he's generic soldier #2 from what you would think, right? As is Christopher. But you immediately see the difference in these two guys and how they approach the world and how they approach their jobs. It's very stark.
Yeah, and as time goes on, it gets more and more
Yeah,
stark. Which is,
and not just in like the position they hold or the conflict that naturally arises, but just personality wise. I agree.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
yeah, Tom King's a badass.
Yeah.
I'm pretty stoked about him taking over for Batman.
Me too. Me too. Hopefully he can keep up on the bi-monthly thing. But
Yeah,
if he
I have no reason to doubt him.
I don't
at this
either
point,
at this
you
point.
know?
Yeah, everything he does is gold. So
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
this and Vision are consistently 2 of our favorite books every month.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good stuff.
yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk about Moon Knight.
Sidekick.
Moon Knight #2. This is Lemire Smallwood and Bel Air. You want to talk about just kind of what this is real quick?
Well, I mean, he's trying to escape the mental institution, and we get a lot of ambiguity of what's real and what's not real, and that's. I really liked how in this issue it's taken to a whole new level of like doubting everybody, because in the last one it's like, okay, so here's this guy and he's in a mental institution and he thinks he's Moon Knight, and you have like plenty of reason to doubt him, but it's like, okay, I'll buy that, sure. But then with the incorporation of like all these other characters, like the people that he brings along with him, and that he meets in the mental institution, like you really start to again question the legitimacy of everything, because it's like, okay, I can accept that this guy is just getting fucked over and like there's some plan, in action, but then these other people, like, I'm pretty sure they're crazy,
Sure.
Yeah, and they're the only ones that are like making efforts to legitimize anything that he's saying, stuff. So yeah.
The high point for me here is the conversation that he has with Khonshu. I remember the last issue I was talking about how I hope they really stretch out this whole thing with him in the institution, and is he crazy, is he not? And unlike you, I felt like I felt pretty comfortable by the end.
Yeah.
That he is crazy, but B,
He's also Moon Knight.
he is Moon Knight, right? And that would have bothered me because it kind of wasn't to the expectations I had. If it wasn't for the Khonshu conversation in the middle, that is just batshit crazy, right? It is out there. This is like Grant Morrison psychedelic nonsense, but just done so awesome. It's like Egyptian gods on another plane, and he's using him as a vessel. But what really did it was the fact that your mind is weak is
why I chose you.
Why I chose you, and now that's also the problem.
Right.
And I love that he says you understand that, right? And Mark's like, yeah, I get it. I'm fucking crazy. So I love they're pushing that. Yes, he is full blown crazy person.
Right. Which the first two. Well, go ahead and finish.
No, go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
The first 2 pages of this, which are just like, I guess pages from like his little journal that he keeps, just reminds me of like some shit that you would do like as a little kid,
right.
You know, when you're planning like your superhero
13
thing.
Or something.
No, not even that, like 7.
Well, the quality of it's a little higher than a 7-year-old.
Okay, sure, but it's like, I'm gonna need a grappling hook, and it's gonna have to collapse and fit into this like a billy club thing. Then I'm gonna have like a bunch of those, and then I'm gonna have like crescent throwing darts.
Yeah.
And then like the cab driver being a cover, and he's gonna have to figure out how to get blood off the streets. And check how hard it is to get a cab driver's license. Yeah,
it's so...
And he misspells license.
Well, yeah, and it's one of those great things where, like, Moon Knight is... The central conceit of the character is so ridiculous, right? He's Batman, but even sillier. He wears all white. But it takes that and then says, well, it's silly because he is a crazy person.
Right.
Like, he is crazy. This is like a childhood maniac kind of guy out there on the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just legitimizes it and says, "Fuck it, he is that guy. Deal with it. He can't spell the word license, and he doesn't care, right?
Right. Yeah.
He will just draw in a notebook his sweet weapons that he's going to create. You know.
Right. Artwork. Awesome.
Yeah, killer as always.
Killer. Yeah. Not just saying this because, I know Smallwood and everything, but it's really fucking good. Like, paneling continues to impress me. The just shading and attention to detail continues to amaze me. Like, the Khonshu himself, like, every time I look at him, it's just like, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't know Bel Air at all. I've never met the guy. Smallwood, sorry. See? I never met him, so fuck it. And I agree, this is the coolest art at Marvel right now.
You think so?
Yeah, it's awesome. The paneling is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guess
if Weird World was still around, it might give it kind of a run for its money.
Well, Weird World is still around.
Well, not in the way that I enjoyed it.
Right, but if we're just talking art, like, it looks like it still has that same stuff.
Does it?
Yeah, it's still Del Mundo, and that dude's incredible. But this just matches, like, the art is taken to a better level, I think, because the writing is just so goddamn cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I also like how this feels more. I mean, Weird World, even when we were reading it and loving it and everything, like, it still felt like pretty digital, but this feels very like pen and ink.
Agreed.
Pencil and ink.
Yeah. It fits this series just to a T, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get a better guy to be drawing this, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely.
So next issue, you think they're going to be out and running around as like a ragtag group of straight up crazy people fighting crime?
I don't know, because we end and they're going to have to deal with this problem somehow.
Right.
So I imagine they're going to be probably underground for most of the issue.
Probably. They'll probably deal with this issue and then like end up on the surface at the end.
Right. This is part 2 of 5 of this arc, so yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense then.
Sure.
Cool.
Number 2.
Just wacky and awesome.
Yeah, super good.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We just had the 2.
Yep.
So check back with us next week when we'll do this again. Monday we have our movie tie-in Suicide Squad, we're going to talk about an old run and a new run, two very different styles, but both things that we think are probably will be pretty relevant to the movie.
Yeah. Both things that we like too. Which is,
they're both good, which is kind of rare for Suicide Squad overall. So check back with us on that, and as always, buy a sidekick.
Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr.